What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About It. Every Thursday, right here on IDK Sports Podcast.
Hello.
YouTube. My name is Anthony. It's my main man, Kenny.
Hannah.
You know, and if you saw the headline, look, I think the topic gonna be a little different, so I had to come in with a little different music today. You know,
yeah, give them a little different energy today. You know,
so we gonna, had to come in with a little bit of different energy today.
Anytime you come in with an intro with Pastor Troy, my boy got war on his mind. It's time for a revolution. My boy thinking war right now.
So, we had a lot of things going on in sports, man. Like a lot of things that had the people up in the uproar this week.
Yes, Lord.
Sports related. You know what I'm saying? So, first things first. Let's get one thing out the way.
What's up?
RIP to Jim Irsay, the Colts owner.
Legend.
You know what I'm saying? So RIP to him. Heard he passed away in his sleep last night. Prayers to his family, the Colts organization. That did me. That's it's kind of, where do they go from here now? Because his dad had it. His dad was the one that moved it from Baltimore to Indianapolis. So you got that. I think he has daughters. So it's kind of see what happened with the Colts now. Are they gonna stay in the family? Did he have something set up? Is he gonna sell some shares? They're gonna sell some shares, but all that could be worked out. But just before we got too far in the pod, definitely wanted to the RIP to Jim Irsay, Colts owner. Kind of like he was like one of the owners. He one of the few owners that was kind of outspoken, kind of like how Jerry Jones is.
Yeah,
He's one of the outspoken owners. One that's gonna be in the forefront. You're gonna hear what he had to say. Gonna talk to the media. So had his band play at halftime.
So I want to say that even though owners are some are looked at as being removed from the game, that is not the tail of the tape for somebody like Jim Irsay. He was heavily involved in like the innovations that was a part of our game. Some of the trends that you're starting to see in today's game, that was also Jim Irsay as well. So I don't want to take nothing away from him. Put some of the best product in the NFL on turf. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to him. Shout out to his family and just shout out to the production that he gave. But amongst all the shout outs, I want to say, of course, rest in eternal favor. You know what I'm saying? So I won't get too much into like what the business dealings are after a man's passing. It just happened.
Yeah.
I'm sure they made, whatever, all business activity, kind of leading up to this moment was done well within hand, but that's to be revealed. It's not for us to speculate, but for the time being, I can always congratulate what he gave the game. So rest in peace, my brother.
All right. So what you want to go to first? Let's get the first part out of the way. Let's get a little lead up. You know what I'm saying? So NBA conference playoffs, conference championships are happening right now. You got Thunder, Timberwolves on one side, and you got the Pacers versus the Knicks on the other side.
Okay.
I'm gonna start with the first game that started, like the Thunder's Timberwolves. That game, I don't know, it's kind of weird to me. I think it's an evenly matched game. I think it's gonna go. I think both these series might end up going 7, but there was a lot of shots that Ant missed that were kind of wide open. Give me shots. They missed a lot of shots that were kind of really wide open in that first game. And now they also and then the big thing, the big story that everybody talking about is Shea shooting 14. I think it was a line 14 free throws.
Yeah.
So is it like flopping and getting the call, or is he really going in there, getting the contact, getting to the basket, and just playing the game, how Some people think the game should be played. I looked at them when I was watching the game. It was about maybe 3 or 4 questionable ones, but for the most part, like I felt like some of them fouls he just got. I think the Timberwolves were playing some undisciplined defense on their end. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, if you ever played a sport, you got to see how the refs calling the game and hinder, like do your game, cater your game towards that.
Right.
And I think they never made that change. And yeah, they were laughing that he had all them free throws, but they also shot 38% from the field. I think like less than that from 3. So it wasn't just the free throws that made you lose this game. Y'all didn't hit y'all shots neither. So I think it's still going to be a close series, good series. I like to see that you got the 2 young stars going up against each other. I think it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, I think we said this last week in our Let's Talk About It, was that, hey, this is what one of the matchups that we wanted to see, right? Was to see the young guns go after it, right? Mm-hmm. And that young squad for OKC has really put it together, man. Just thinking about where they was at last year in the playoffs, and now they're here in the finals. You know what I'm saying? It's just like this squad's really putting it together, and it's a nucleus that's putting it together. Like the contribution you're getting from Dort, you know what I'm saying, is kind of unprecedented too. It's one of my low key players throughout the playoffs. So going into game 1, you're in OKC. All right, some of the tiki tack calls again, like my boy just said. Some of the things you just kind of see what it is. Quarter 1, quarter 2. So it should be no surprise. Like, hey, if this game is in a close margin, we can't give them points neither. It's one thing if our shots ain't falling, but we can't also give them points, which is how they was kind of able to maintain that lead. You know what I'm saying? And don't take the turnovers that OKC created in game 1, 2 for granted. A lot of those turnovers happen at the top of the key. That's ball handling. You know what I'm saying? Or not, or just passing the rock around. Like they created a lot of their luck. Now I think that's a portion of OKC's game that's not being accounted for. A lot of those, fast break points, points off turnover, getting their own rebounds. Like they create a lot of their luck in game 1 and throughout the playoffs too. You know what I'm saying? They play a very aggressive style of defense. So I don't want to just short them just because Shy gets to the line. A lot of your scoring leaders get to the line.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that can't always be an excuse. So take your lumps like a man. Take your lumps like a man. You got down game 1. Let's see how they shape back game 2.
Yeah. So still I think it's gonna be a really good series. It's gonna come down, like you said, turnovers, who can play their style of game, and like just finding the right matchup. Like it's the playoffs. You gotta find who you need on the floor at the right time.
Right.
All that type of stuff. Like, and I think that's even more critical in the other side with the Pacers and the Knicks. You know who the Knicks are coming with. They got 6, 7 guys they're gonna play. They got Towns, Brunson, Bridges, Hart, McBride gets in there. I'm missing somebody. We got Bridges, Hart. They got about 6 players they gonna play. 6 to 7 players they're gonna play. But now it's like, how you gonna use that to match up with Indiana coming with 8 or 9 players, and they can shoot. You got Nembhard that can play, that balled out. The other guy, I can't think of his name, dark skinned brother with the locks, knocked down with 6 threes. Halliburton did his thing. Miles Turner gave you good minutes. Toppin was bouncing around everywhere, getting rebounds and everything. So I think this series is gonna come down because Jalen Brunson gonna do what Jalen Brunson do. I think it's gonna be the defense and how Tom Thibodeau is gonna use Thomas Mitchell, but also use McBride. How he's gonna work it if Carl Anthony got to stay out of foul trouble, cannot get in foul trouble in this series. And how are you gonna have different lineups and different strategies for the waves of players and the waves of lineups and different lineups that the Pacers can bring? They can go big, they can go small, they can go, they play like 10 players. I mean 8 to 9 players almost. So like, how can you best use that to neutralize them where like they're not messing up your flow because you only play 7?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So That's what I see. But I think it's still going to be an exciting series. Pacers came back from a big deficit. You know, 1-1 in the Garden. Energy was crazy. I think this series got way more energy than the other series just because it's East Coast teams. You know what I'm saying? You got the Knicks in the finals.
Energy's up. Yeah, energy's up.
So,
I think just in game one, and I'm gonna sound like a damn copycat echo right now, but one of the announcers said it perfectly. Just like for Cats, foul trouble game one was just like how they deploy offense as opposed to how they defend them. Like they're gonna throw a wave of guards at you while Cats on defense, but as far as being just completely physical with you, even when you try to back out to the perimeter, it's still hands and chest type of game. So like this the way they deploy their offense, and where they want to throw waves at you, so it's never like a break. You're always gonna be in like a midst of chaos. Whether it's on the offensive side of the court or defensive side of the court, you're always gonna be in a sense of chaos. So, like, if that was a strategy where, and then on top of Nimhard's contribution, Toppin's contribution, it's like, it's still enough to where it's going to be an exciting series, definitely an exciting game one. That was probably one of the most enjoyable games. But I think it's just going to carry that same momentum throughout the series. And that's going to be very pivotal how Cat responds in game two.
Yeah. And then, like, the thing with Cat what the critique, I think he played a lot better this year. My biggest critique, one of my biggest critiques of him is that sometimes he plays like a small, and I think he forgets that he's 7 foot tall. Like maybe when Obi Toppin is on you, or they don't have Miles Turner out there, you have like a small, when they go to that small lineup, why are you running around the perimeter? Like, get down low, get the ball, keep the ball high, get fouled. Like, you're 7 foot tall. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes he allows himself to be guarded by players that I'm not even talking about 6'8". I'm talking about players like 6'6", like shorter people. Like, he has to be more dominant in my eyes for him to win this series when they take Miles Turner out and they go in that small lineup. When they go in that small lineup, Cat has to demand the ball. Of course, Brunson's going to do his thing, but Cat has to demand the ball when the Pacers go in that small lineup and he got a Toppin guarding him, or what's that dude? I can't think of that brother's name. But the other guy on knocking out the threes, him guarding him. Like, you have to play strong and play like you 7 foot tall.
Yeah, I mean that's a part of like slowing the game down. But I think a part of it too, like I said, on the defensive side, he's also responsible for moving around in switches too. That might be taking some of the stamina out. Like he get caught in a switch as they, like you said, they moving the ball around the perimeter, and they may not, it kind of takes its toll on the offensive side of the ball where, as you said, he just takes his time, demand the ball, slow the game down, really, makes his hay in the paint. Then, man, again, it kind of evens the playing field. He got to slow it down. That offense has to slow down when they go into that small lineup and make them play a big man game when you're the only big man on the court. That's the most advantageous way to go about it. But if you just still try to knock down jump shots and whatnot, play a fast-paced game, that just plays into their hand. So
Exactly.
I get what you're saying, but the boy just might be gassed, bro. The boy just might be gassed.
I think he just like staying out in that 3-point line too much because he can make the shot. I'm not saying he can't make the shot.
Nah, for sure. But if I don't have the energy, if I don't have the energy to get down the court, or if I have the energy to get down the court and to get in the paint and fight, then it's not worth it. I'm gonna just take these easy jump shots, and the chances are y'all are accustomed to me making them. So you can't use the excuse that I don't make these shots. No, you ain't. You don't agree?
I mean, it is what it is. Hey, they play good, so whatever's working is working. So, like I said, we'll see how it works. Like, the Pacers can throw a lot of different lineups. Knicks ain't got so many lineups to throw because they don't play that many people. So, it's about what's going to prevail. The person that's steadfast with their 6, or the person that can throw 10 different guys at you and throw different styles of play, different lineup, defense, offense, fast pace, slow up a little bit, play with a shot blocker, play without the shot blocker. So it'll be interesting to see how this series go. I think they're both going to be great series. I think they both go I think they both go at least 6. I think they both go at least 6, but not both 7. I think both these teams are very evenly matched on both sides.
My memory might be slipping me right now. But has any of them gone 7 this entire playoffs? Pacers have.
No. I don't think so. I don't think neither of these teams went 7. Well, the Thunder did. The Thunder went to game 7 with the Nuggets right before this.
That's true.
And then I don't think the Pacers had to, and the Knicks won in 6. So no, I think the Thunder the only team that went 7 so far.
Just went 7. That's right. But that game 7 was kind of like a little bit different than any other game. They just kind of walked off with it, but yeah, it wasn't as intense, but they did what they had to do. But nonetheless, good series on both sides, bro. I'm hoping for 7 games on both sides.
Yeah. So let's get into it, man. But it's all with the thumbnail and the big thing that's been taking over sports world. A little messy, a little beef, a little bit of everything. And we're gonna talk a little bit about this Ryan Clark and RG3 thing, man. Let's get into it. Let's start from the beginning, where it starts from. It starts from I can't remember what night it was. Not Saturday night, I want to say, or Sunday night. I think it was a weekend. I think it was either Saturday night, one of these nights. The Fever, it was opening night at WNBA. The Fever played the Chicago Sky in Indiana. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese. Opening night for the WNBA. Of course, it would be them, the two biggest draws playing against each other, right? During the game with what Indiana Fever show, they have a better team. This had a better team right now than the Sky, with the additions of Bonner and Caitlin and Aaliyah Boston playing in the second year together. The Fever is a better team. I mean, way better team than the Sky right now. The Sky's kind of rebuilding. They picked up Vandersloot, but they kind of still going with some young players. And still got a new coach learning some things, right? So during the game was out of hand. Game got out of hand. Caitlin had a good game. Angel had 16 rebounds, did her normal. Aaliyah had like 20 and 10, did her thing. But in the game, a foul happened where Caitlin fouled Angel Reese as she was going back up for a shot. It was kind of a hard foul, a hard basketball foul. Angel popped up, took offense to the foul, kind of popped up. Caitlin walked off, a little like, what the hell you doing type thing, right? Got upgraded to a flagrant 1. Personally, do I think it was a flagrant? No, I think it was a hard foul. I think Angel sold it a little bit. She popped up. People do it. Happens in the men's game all the time. Happen on the pickup court all the time. People get mad when they get fouled sometimes. But then it started this whole debate again, which I thought we were past. But it started this whole thing again about Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark and who's hating on who and blah, 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 blah. And then our brother RG3 comes out on his podcast and literally says, I'm paraphrasing a little bit because I didn't want to bring the clip up because it ain't worth a copyright strike for it. Yeah. But then I brought he came on his podcast with his wife sitting behind him. It was like basically in a lot of words about the foul, and then made the take saying that you can look in Angel's eyes and tell that she hates Caitlin. And then goes back to how she says that how y'all said back when she was a rookie, how she said that Caitlin, yes, she's a great player and she's a draw, but I'm a great player too, and I'm a draw too, which ain't no lie. I mean, people can say it's a lie, they want to hate, but it's not a lie. That girl does draw people too.
Yeah.
But RG3 said he could see the hate in her eyes. Like he hated this woman. Like she hated this woman. Further bringing the narrative of Caitlin being the hero / victim and Angel being the aggressor / villain. So after that, Ryan Clark gets on podcast to pivot and literally calls RG3 out on basically that role. And in that, he says that RG3, since he is married to a white woman, and some of the jokes that he makes about, if you go on his Twitter, every time you see his wife, he refers to his milk, cookies and milk. Oh, I love this tall glass of milk, milk, this, that, and the third. He says that after working with and seeing how he interacts, he knows that he's not having conversations in his house, right? Talking about what Black women go through. And he says that since he's married to both his wives have been white, and also he brought up how he made the jokes when he worked with him about the milk stuff and everything like that. He says that he can tell that he doesn't have the conversation about what Black women go through on a daily basis, and how his words and what he said were really harmful and offensive, basically, because you don't know if this girl hates this girl, right? No. He basically goes on to say that every time you introduce or say anything about your wife, you always mention that she's white.
Yeah.
Not any other attribute about her. You only mention that she's white. So he knows that like you don't have the necessary conversations to even relate or know or try to know what Angel Reese might be going through, when it's not. I mean, I can say this. It's a lot of people that throw racist things her way and just hates on her just because. It's not Caitlyn fans. It's fans of another type that just want to put them two against each other and hate on her just because. In terms, as Ryan Clark said, Ryan Clark said, I don't think he said anything about his wife. When you go, you can let me know that is if I'm wrong or not. He just said how you talk about your wife. RG3 took it as a personal attack, and now he wants to hide his hands and play victim. And it started a debate like, oh, was Ryan Clark wrong? Was RG3 wrong? And how this whole thing just blew up into something where RG3 dropped something on Twitter saying it was personal, and Ryan Clark basically saying, you know what it was, you know how you act. I said nothing about your wife, but I'm not hard to find, because RG3 basically tweet was like, I want some smoke. You know what I'm saying? Then it comes out that Ryan Clark has a biracial daughter that everybody knew about. But some people say that matters, some people say that don't. I'm gonna stop right there after I done put the backstory, and you can let me know what's up, and we can dive deeper into it.
That's about A to Z, brother. I mean, just sticking on those last two notes. One, I got to start with the babies first. Like that, anytime we making a singular post, speaking for Ryan Clark, singular post, having to explain your child, this is already turned into something else. And I understand the crowd that says, hey, the moment you start mentioning your wife in relation to whatever this beef is between Caitlyn Clark and Angel Reese, it kind of begs the question: how did we even get here? If we're being analytical, which we're both, or which Ryan Clark and RG3 are paid to do, is to be analytical of a game of sports. It's like, bro, just keep it there. But introducing the element of hate and jealousy when it's in terms of Angel Reese looking at the Caitlyn Clark, that could have been approached more tactical if I'm Ryan Clark. That's just me. I understand. We already understand the undertones that come with every time those two take the court. Mm-hmm. Since college, we understand the undertones.
Mm-hmm.
Now, throwing some fuel on the fire for that beef, we want to call it that, is that she looks like she has hate, or she just hates her. Again, I've seen Skip Bayless do the same thing on his show. I've seen Skip do the same thing. Does that mean you get to call somebody out for their wife, or make mention, not say that you called them out, but make mention of someone's wife behind that? Whether it was malicious or not. is it okay to make mention of anyone's wife behind something that they how they talk about the game? I don't believe so. Now, again, since we're here and you want to play the undertones, play into the undertones that's already present between Caitlyn and Angel, this black and white thing, let's just go ahead and say it. If we're gonna play into this undertones, I'm gonna bring up your child. That doesn't, again, it's like if you want to sling mud, we're gonna sling mud. Again, how do we even get here? Wrong is wrong, bro. Wrong is wrong in both cases. You looking like you don't. Like
I wait for you to finish.
This is dialogue.
I was gonna keep it tactical, but the more that I saw the clip and saw his wife sitting behind him as he was saying it and clapping and nodding her head, it's just I just can't I can't keep it because I hear what you're saying.
What's up, niggas?
I see what you're saying. I was about to play that clip. We're gonna keep it serious. I'm gonna see what you're saying. And I was trying to make it light of it, right? Make it funny, but now we can't because it's something serious. So I hear what you're saying about slinging mud. So I'm gonna sling mud, blah, blah, that stuff, not blah blah blah. Because your point is valid, my brother. Your point is valid, black man. But RG3 was wrong off the rip. Off the rip.
Yeah.
You know what it says when them two touch the court. You know what it is when Angel and Caitlyn Clark touch the court. It's nothing between them. They actually, contrary to popular belief, they actually cool with each other. But they're competitors though.
Right.
And they're both draws. So y'all, in the way America has to have a hero and a villain. Mm-hmm. And too many times in this world, the black woman has to be the villain.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Stay there. So now you have this foul happen. They pop up. She pops up, gets mad. All of us that play sports know it's times when you've been hit, something happened where you ready to get up in somebody's face and you got to catch yourself real quick.
Yeah.
Happened in the men game. I'm watching the men game. That happened twice in this game already, and there's never a story. But somehow it's a story when it happens with Angel Reese. And then let's talk about the offseason and the narrative that I hear people talk about. People talk about because Angel Reese was outside and Caitlyn was just inside working on her game. It's 24 hours in a day. All the people that's watching this and all the people that are here have jobs. I have a job, right? You got a job, right? And what do we do on our off time? We do a podcast.
Yeah.
Right? I play with my kid. I take care of my family. I do all this stuff, right? So that's already a notion, underlying notion that this girl here, this woman here is working hard and she's not because she was afforded the opportunity by Reese's to start a podcast. And she played in the summer league. And she got invited to the Met Gala, but she's not working hard because you see what she's doing. She's outside, right? Oh, but she's sitting in the house. Like she just shooting. Y'all act like Angel wasn't in the gym. A, she was healing up on a broke wrist. And B, she was in the gym. Like, come on now. You don't get to this part without being in the gym, right? So that's already in there, right? So now this happens. Now here RG3 comes with his wife in the background, telling the world on a platform that he has that a black woman hates this white woman.
Yeah.
I can see it in her eyes. She hates. That's not a sports take. You made a bad personality take, and it's funny. It's coming from you because you cried about Rob Parker calling you a cornball brother, and you say how that messed up my career. You cried about that. You whined about that on a couple podcasts. How that just made on Stephen A. podcast, how that just changed my career because everybody think I'm a cornball brother. Well, I'm gonna leave it there. But so you get on your podcast and tell the world that this black woman hates this white. You can see it in her eyes with your wife in the background clapping and cheering you on. How's that supposed to look? Okay, let's keep moving. If people can stay with me, stay with me. If you're in the comments, you want to comment. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Next up, Ryan Clark comes up as a black man defending Angel Reese to this other man because we quick to say that we don't defend our women. He defended her. He didn't say nothing bad about that man. If you listen to the whole, he said nothing bad about that man's wife. He said how you betrayed her and that you don't have the conversations. And since you don't have the conversations, you don't understand what Angel Reese goes through. That's why you're comfortable making that comment with her sitting behind you. That's all he said. It's all he said. He said you refer to her as milk. You make the milk jokes. You make the all I love is milk jokes. You did that. And every time you bring her up, all you say is about the color of her skin. You don't say that, oh, my wife is loving. My wife has a kind heart. My wife has this. Every time you're up in somewhere and you bring up your wife, you bring up the color of her skin, whether it's in Twitter pictures, Instagram posts, your podcast, or whatever. So now, after you done said the offensive thing about this woman hates this woman, and somebody calls you out about it, now you like, oh, you made it personal. But didn't you make it personal with Angel Reese?
Yeah, about commentary on.
Was that commentary?
No, I'm with you. Now again, we see it between the lines. Like that comment about she hates this woman. That's again, yeah, you taking it somewhere it doesn't have to be. But again, I just want to address something real quick, and then we can keep going on. RG3 said that from the comfort of his home.
With a camera.
Now again, he invited America or the world into his house.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. When he said that comment. But that comment wasn't pertaining to what he was seeing on TV or his television set. Or just watching the game.
No, he said that after the game. He made a take after the game.
Okay. Timing could be off. Apologies.
So he's talking about the game post.
Right.
It's not like it was a live podcast and he watching the game and then just said it out loud. You thought about it. Go ahead.
I understand that. But again, the company he chooses to keep around his house is going to tend to be what? His wife, right?
Yeah.
So again, he said that from the comfort of his home.
Yeah.
Thinking that he's only speaking to people his audience. Correct?
I think you're giving him an excuse, but go ahead.
I'm not giving him an excuse.
Like he know who his audience is. He's a football analyst on ESPN who did Monday Night Football. You know you got a big audience. More than just your wife when you cut this camera on.
I understand that. But I'm also a believer, if we're going to be real about it right now, I'm a strong believer that all skin folk ain't kinfolk. That's in the comfort of his house.
Okay. So he felt comfortable.
That's all I'm saying.
All right.
He felt comfortable to say that. So that may go very well to Ryan Clark's point that you're not having them conversations.
Thank you. Okay.
But again, that also doesn't give you credence to make mention of anybody in my family.
So okay.
If I'm giving a sports take or what I perceive to be a sports take, okay, listen, stay with me. If I'm just giving a sports take, or what I perceive to be a sports take, like, oh, she hates this girl.
That's not a sports take.
That's weak. Yeah, that's weak ass sports. That's a weak ass sports analysis right there.
Not a sports take at all.
Yeah, that's a weak that's a weak ass take. I'll take the sports off, but that's just a weak ass take. But again, respectfully approach it from a different angle. It doesn't have to be like, yeah, because you got that white woman in your house. Or no, excuse me, he didn't say that. Let me give him some credit. Like, but because I know you're not having those conversations with your wife. Is that closer to what he's saying?
He says because that you basically have a white wife and keep yourself in them circles, You're not having them conversations with black women because you don't have no black women around you that you're having them conversations with to understand why you wouldn't make that comment.
So if it's understood, if you show me who you around, I'm gonna show you who you loyal to. Why is it be understood that okay, we now expect him to be another way?
Okay.
But even then, I don't need if Orion Clark, as he said, he spent time with him on set, before production or whatever, and he'll make jokes like that. If I already know the character of a man, what again? Now this ain't my time to be like, yeah, you was like this, back in the day, and you was always milk this, milk that.
So with that though, so then he posed so all of us told just let RG slide with the comment that he made. That's basically what we're saying. If we can't check him and Daisy tell you that you don't have these conversations because you don't keep black women around you to have these conversations, that's why you think it's okay to say what you said.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't say anything like that because all I said was, all the time I brought up your wife when I said you wasn't having the conversations. I didn't say anything bad about your wife. I just said because you are married to such and such woman, you don't have these conversations. And since you don't have these conversations, that's why you feel comfortable saying it. And the only time you talk about your wife is the color of her skin. You never talk about any other attribute. And you can go on his Twitter page right now. All he talks is about milk this, milk this. Every time his wife is up, milk this, milk that. It's
but the time to check that predates this.
Okay, but that he never said anything public, really disparaging. He publicly attacked this woman, RG3. He publicly attacked her.
Agreed.
Just like the Barstool guy does, just like everybody else does.
Agreed.
So if we can check them, which they have been checked, but they're gonna keep doing it. And nah, bro, you can't come around here, do that, and then try to hold your hands back like, oh, what did I say? What did I say? Yeah. Kind of like Emmanuel Acho does, if we want to talk about it.
But also, and just in both those cases, I don't expect neither one to be showing up at the cookout like, hey, what's up, kinfolk?
I understand.
Because that's not the company they keep.
I understand that. But at the same time, some stuff you can't leave unchecked.
Okay.
Some stuff you can't leave. Like, you literally got up here and tried to hide a personal bias because what your preference is. Let's keep it real. What his preference is, you made a personal bias and said that this woman hated this other woman.
Right.
Because what your preference is. So you just again made the narrative that happens a lot in America that you make the black woman the villain when all she did was play basketball.
Right.
You could have said that Angel Reese flopped. You could have said that I think Angel Reese kind of overreacted to the foul a little bit. I didn't think it was that bad. A lot of brothers, I heard Kenyon Martin on Gil Arena say it wasn't a flagrant, it was a hard foul. It was a hard foul. It wasn't a flagrant, it was a hard foul. You could have said that. You could have said that. But you didn't talk nothing about the foul or the game or what type of, you could have said everything about how Caitlyn dropped 25 and 10. You could have said everything about Caitlyn, nothing about Angel, but you chose because you wanted the views and you wanted it up. You said that this woman hates this woman, and now you crying because this man checked you. Yep. And in that check, you then, on top of that, when that man just brought up his wife and just said what she looks like and how you portray her, you go up and bring up this man's biracial child like he's supposed to be, like he's ashamed of. Then you cross the line. So now, like, never mind, bro. It's cool. Like that's crossing the line. The child is crossing the line.
Mentioning my wife is crossing the line?
What did he mention about his wife?
But just because you're not speaking about a disparity don't mean that you can speak about my wife.
What did he say about his wife? No, for real. Like, everybody can say about his wife. What did he say?
Okay, even if we're not talking about anything insulted, anything disparaging, anything, any bad word is mentioned in the same sentence of my wife. If we're just talking about a sports play, a moment in sports or in a game, what the hell does that have to do with me having a conversation with my fans and my wife just having to be in the background? There's no proof for that.
But wasn't your wife in the background cheering you on? While you was doing what?
What my wife supposed to do?
Your wife was, but that goes to his point that you're not having the conversations. Your wife, you literally disparaging a black woman. Wait a minute, you're literally disparaging a black woman's name and saying that she hates somebody.
Right.
While you have your wife in the background clapping and like, yep. That goes to what Ryan Clark said is you're not having the conversations.
But that's been known when he married this woman. I'm not going to jump.
That's not always known. I mean, it's been known for some people, but it don't have to be the case just because you marry out of your race.
Is he or is he not married to his second white wife?
But that don't mean that like you can be that out of touch. Hey, we're going to another spot, so let's bring it back. I get where you're going. I get that, but I'm
okay. Can I just say this real quick, bro? You know what I'm saying? We ain't even got to do all that. I'm just saying this ain't this moment in time trying to highlight this moment where he disrespected Angel, where he's blatantly disrespected Angel Reese and trying to put all this villainous monikers on her back. He already showed you what he thought already. And the same thing with Acho. They already showed you what they thought.
But has he ever directly said anything about any woman or woman of color before? Most time he just bigs up in public. Now, what he says in private is different, but in public, in public, he bigs up white women, because that's what he likes. That's his preference. And I don't have nothing against anybody loving who they love. Let's get that out the way. It ain't no hate. You know what I'm saying? But he bigs up the white woman. He never disparaged any black woman before. He just bigged them up. Now, in private, it sounded like he was doing that. In private, and we all know the brothers that do that. You know, if it ain't snowing, I ain't going. We all know them brothers. But in public, he did it. And sometimes I have nothing wrong that if you do something in public, you can be checked in public.
Okay.
Like Stephen A stuff just happened with him and LeBron. Stephen A said the stuff in public, LeBron checked him in public. And we just had a whole pod about how sports journalists or so-called podcasts, whatever, need to be, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
keep it sports, keep it cute.
To the creator they were.
Sports. Yeah. So now you want to bring up, but then my thing is, you bringing up his biracial child was supposed to do what to Ryan Clark? Supposed to smudge his name, like invalidate what he's saying? Because it don't. That's what I'm saying. You bringing up his biracial child, does that invalidate him saying that you don't have them conversations?
I'm not touching that one. I don't mess with the babies, bro.
I
get you saying.
You bringing up his child, his biracial child, like that was supposed to invalidate what he said about you.
No, but in RG3's perspective, only thing he can see is that you have an issue with me, with who I choose as a lover.
He choosing not to.
But he didn't hear. But again, he didn't hear the second part about you not having these conversations. What he thinks the problem is that you have an issue with who I choose as a lover and the skin of the color of their skin.
Yeah.
He's like, so if I hear that part and I stop listening after that, what some would call selective hearing. Oh, bet then let's call out that you like to share that you dabble too. But that's not what, again, to what you just perfectly illustrated. That's not what the whole point was about. Is that you're not having these conversations, or you're not comfortable enough to have those conversations in your house.
And you know something different. If he did have the conversations, he would have known that bringing up the biracial child wouldn't help him. That just proved Ryan's point. If he was having the conversations, or somebody in his corner to have that conversation with him, they would have told him you doing that would have just proved his point.
Okay, but again, you're 100% right, bro. But what I'm saying is that's already been proven.
Yeah.
As far as when somebody show you who they are, believe them, and I believe that to the grave, bro. So when people show you, when even in the time when it was just like milk this, milk that, when he's on these posts, when he was doing a post about his wives,
this man called this same Super Saiyan milk.
Believe who they try to show you who they are. Believe them. Believe them.
Yeah.
So don't again. So when they invite you into his home, you gotta believe that's an isolated place for him.
Yeah.
He may, regardless if he finds comfort in that and how in his home, but that's an isolated place for him.
But this is what I didn't. Just taking it off of Ryan and them right for a second right here. I hate when cats say stuff like people go like when this goes out to the masses. Shout out to the people that listen to the live. But when this goes out on YouTube, we post it and then I clip it and I put out clips. I already know what's coming my way, so I'm not even gonna be surprised. I know what's gonna come the way in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you say something like that and then want to hide your hands? That's the part I don't understand. When somebody calls you out on it, now I want to hide. Oh, I just made a sports take and you went personal. Did you make a sports take?
No,
How in your head you thought you made a sports take?
Hey, who else
said
does
this
that?
woman hate somebody. And then this comes literally 2 to 3 months after when you was on Stephen A. Smith podcast crying that old boy called you a cornball, you know what? And how that affected your career. And you did the same thing.
Hey, bro.
How did that happen?
Tears of a victim, bro. I'm about to say, if you want to take it there, you learn it from the best. You know what I'm saying? But, bro, it's only fun until like the rapper get the gun. Like, bro, in a perfect world, this issue stays on the court.
And that's what
issue stays on the court.
It should. They do crazy that the men don't do.
But again, even in the Angels' perspective and in Kayla's perspective, they were like, "Hey, hard foul. Let's move on. Next question." They on to another game tonight. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, hard foul, whatever. Next question.
Yeah. So
it's only us that get that. We want to focus too much on the undertones are there, but this little Ryan Clark RG3 mess is kind of fueling the fire, bro. Y'all added to it. Now I understand your point. Hey, RG3, he saw opportunity and he took it. He took the bait. It's a damn shame it was against against that black woman, but he took the bait.
Yeah.
But where things have escalated, nobody. Where things have escalated, all I'm here to say is, bro, as when we start mentioning wives, kids, from a simple hard foul, I can't agree with that. All I'm saying is there's blame to be shared on both sides.
Yeah,
not equal, but there's blame to be shared on both sides. I can't accept that when kids are involved.
Okay, the kid part, that's totally out of bounds to me. But how else was Ryan Clark supposed to articulate his point?
Approach it with the same critique that when they both were playing sports and Ryan Clark would issue out a hard hit or RG3 got tore up, he got hit hard at one time against the sideline. It was like, hey, you think that was a dirty hit? Nah, it's a football play. Keep moving.
No. I'm saying, how would you want it if Ryan Clark said, I'm gonna call him out on this? How would Ryan Clark pose to articulate a point about what RG3 said about Angel?
Well, one, you can't fix ignorance, but that's my first rule. But it's a moment of educating. And I think that could have been achieved without mentioning his wife. Is like, hey, I'm gonna pull your coattail, and I'm gonna do it publicly when I pull your coattail. Like, hey, this isn't national attention. You don't need more national attention to back up a stereotype that's already been that's been plaguing our sisters for a long time. And you don't have to be the one that's fanning that flame. You don't have to be the one. All I'm saying is, brother, that you don't have to be the one. There's gonna be enough out here that's gonna do it for you. Barstool. There's gonna be enough that's gonna be out here to do it for you. So you don't have to be the one to, fan the flame of she's envious, she's jealous. You can see it in her eyes. It exists outside of just basketball. You don't have to be the one to fan that flame. Because all you know is just like when we played, we were just athletes. We didn't have no ill intent when we were playing. We were just athletes. So leave it there.
So is it another thing because they're women athletes? Because all I heard last year when every time Caitlin got fouled is, oh, they're jealous. Oh, they're this. You know how women are. They're jealous. I don't know. I just think the coverage of WNBA, because they don't know how to do it. Some of these other media outlets,
other men don't know how to do it.
Kind of nasty. It's real nasty.
Other men don't know how to do it. Now, I'm kind of riled up, so I can't remember these young ladies' names, but the women that they do have that cover the game right now, they stick to basketball. They stick to the game. But when you start adding your Chucks and Shaqs and other men out, what I'm saying? When you start adding the goofies to it, they take it somewhere else. Ryan Clark, RG3, you start taking it somewhere else.
I think.
Am I wrong? I mean, tell me.
I don't like to throw Ryan Clark. I think Ryan Clark is a good steward to it. I think he saw that she was being treated unfairly. He went to LSU. He knows Angel Reese. And he's like, yo, I'm not about to let you, another black man, sit there and spread this narrative. And I know you. I work with you. And I know how you feel. So now I'm going to have to call you out on it. And I feel like I don't have no problem with a public call out. Could he not say something about his wife? Me personally, I feel like it needed to be said to get his point across. I don't think he said nothing bad. I truly don't believe he said nothing horrible about that woman or nothing. He just used her. He just said, hey, you are married to X. That's why you don't do Y.
Right.
He didn't say, yo, your wife, that. He said, you're married to X, so this is why Y doesn't happen. But for you to escalate it to talking about trying to out him about having a biracial daughter, which everybody already knew.
And what the hell were you even talking about?
What was you gonna do? You just proved this point is because you marry and only associate yourself with X, you don't understand why.
But here again, if you go, the fact that he was doing that milk stuff around you too means that he was also comfortable around you when he was having those conversations.
But that if you're doing okay.
That's my.
I'm going down a different lane, and I'm gonna move away from it because we both work in corporate America, and some stuff you just can't do or say when people that cut your check is laughing. You might not rock with it, but it's some stuff you can't do.
Okay, all right,
and that's why I don't want to go.
It's layered. It's layered.
Who'd you say it around? Who was in association when you said it?
And company, who was the fool? Like who was all the?
I cannot believe me and you sitting in the break room by ourselves and you get that shit off by yourself with us two. But if you say it while that guy that was the head, while like some other heads are around and they hee-hee-ha-ha, you ain't gotta laugh, but you ain't much you can do in this moment right now. Because you gotta play your cards, right? I gotta play my cards right. So.
I still feel like, hey, even if it doesn't happen in the moment, like if you ain't like just checking them like a hard check in front of your step again. Never mind, bro.
In his tweet, Ryan Clark said, "I've been told you about your corny jokes." He did say we've been talked about this.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Fair enough.
It is what it is. We're gonna move on, but that last thing before we get out of here, I just wanted to eventually get to a point where they can just play basketball. Yes, Caitlin scores 25 and 10, and she has the bigger fan. She has a fan base.
Yeah.
But we always knock it. It can't just be both of them have a fan base and both of them are draws to the game. Some people saying like Angel Reese ain't really like a draw to the game. People watch the league because of Angel Reese. There's a lot of Angel Reese fans out here. It's a lot of people buying their jerseys. There's a lot of Angel Reese fans. It might not be as many as Caitlyn. Caitlyn scores more points than Angel. Angel's a different player. And I'll say this right now. I think Caitlyn is overall a better player than Angel right now. But it's always like you got to pit them two against each other. Just because Caitlyn does X, Angel can't do this. They're both draws. Because I think Angel held them down tell WNBA down on her back with Angel Wilson over the offseason. I think that Unlimited League, if Angel didn't play, I don't think it has the same pedigree that it got. I think that Angel out here with her podcast during that time, she kept the WNBA kind of name around.
Somebody got to push the sport. Somebody got to push the brand. Because the brand ain't going to do it. It's all the sense of like pushing the brand forward. So all those takes is garbage. Those takes are garbage to me. Yeah, you want somebody that's locked in, but somebody also got to pay the bills
see how we just said it though? Just because she's doing other stuff don't mean she's not locked in. That's what people think. Just because she's doing other things, she's not locked in. Not saying you, but I'm just saying, like, people be assuming she at the Met Gala with Meg Thee Stallion, she's not locked in. How you know she ain't locked in? It's a lot of hours in a day. I don't do my job 24 hours. You don't do your job 24 hours. We find other hobbies and other interests in our lives.
Right.
You can't.
But again, again, we talking about a new era of fan that's seeing a WNBA star on the red carpet at the Met Gala. You know what I mean? Like, it's somebody got to push the brand. And to Ant's point, and I misspoke, like, that doesn't mean you're not locked in, but somebody got to pay the bills when like every time we step out the house, that don't mean that, somebody got to keep the lights on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just different. It just looks different. And that doesn't have to mean that somebody got to be a hero, somebody got to be a villain. It just looks different.
Yeah, man.
But man, stop letting men talk about it, bro. At the end of the day, stop letting men talk about it, bro. Because we gonna ruin it. Aside from me and Ant, we probably gonna talk about sports. We're gonna talk about like the play of the game. We're gonna talk about something that happened during the game, like to analyze the actual game.
Before I brought up any of this, I told you exactly what happened in the game. I told you how they played. The Fever was a better team. DeWanda Bonner, who is now the third all-time scoring on the scoring list in the WNBA. A lot of good things are happening. Also in the WNBA, the Aces got a good top-heavy team, but ain't got no bench. It's some storylines. Paige looking all right, Dallas trying to work out her stuff. So it's storylines to be had. And like you said, man, let's just talk the game. Leave all this other crap on the outside. Let's talk the game. If a foul happens to Caitlyn, it's a foul.
Yeah.
Foul's gonna happen. Okay, hear me?
Yeah, you good, bro. You back.
So I ain't gonna say that technical fouls ain't gonna happen to us because people have emotions and emotions go over. It happens in men's sports all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But just because they women, it's like, hey, Caitlyn might be tearing a girl up, and one day, like, they get tired of it and they close on her when she goes to the lane. Hey, it happened to Jordan, it happened to Isaiah.
All right, because then, like, Angel be wrong if she just go straight Bill Laimbeer on these.
Bill Laimbeer is revered in this revered, right? Like it's crazy, but we know what the undertones of it is, man. It ain't going away no time soon. But that's just how this world is made up right now. So it is what it is. But man, it's a good league, man. Watch the league, man, and shout out to Ryan Clark, bro. Hey, somebody, wow, that's strong words right there. That's strong words right there. I ain't gonna say that on this pod.
Yeah,
everybody entitled to it.
Uncle Ruckus, no relation.
But I stand with Ryan Clark on this one. There's no way you can see me to say he did anything wrong, and this is coming from a married man. That I would not like nobody talking about my wife. But if I did some bullshit like that, and somebody called me out on it, it is what it is. Now, like, and that just shows, everybody get some gangster shit. That just shows what kind of man you is, because you said, oh, I'm gonna talk about this man's child, and you could have just saw him. Like, you could have pulled, that's what I would have did. If I felt the type of way you talking about my wife, now I gotta see you. What's up? We can talk face to face, like LeBron did Stephen A. Right? But you said, oh, you're gonna bring somebody's child into it. What are we talking about, man?
Ain't no way in hell. Ain't no way in hell. Let's move on, bro. Ain't no way.
Like, you said it, and then you bring the child. Well, this man made a post about it, had to make a post about it, because you were trying to say like he was ashamed of his daughter.
I'm not explaining nothing.
But like, he talked about your wife, he talked about his daughter. Like, come on, bro. Like, be a man. Be a man about it now. And all I'm gonna say, man, hey, Rob Parker, man, salute, man. I apologize to you.
You know, hey, man, I hope Rob Parker somewhere, smoking a cigar.
I tried to tell you.
You know what I'm saying? Got a nice glass of yak. Just, I try to tell y'all. Hey, you know what I'm saying? But him, Brian Clark, they was all on that set.
What?
And, like, oh, this is before. I think he made that comment before RG3 was out the league.
No, right. That was when RG3 came into the league.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, hey, bro, like, it's just speaking for Ryan Clark, bro. Like, you heard those comments before, and if you say, and now that Ant tell me like, yo, I checked you then, I would check you now. He just stood on man business. All he did was just stand on man business. Anything I'm gonna say to you in private, I can say to you in public, and vice versa.
I think, all right, now I'm gonna let it go after this, and we're gonna end this pod because, you know what I'm saying, I got things to do tomorrow. But all right, Ryan, I'm not saying with Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark defended a 24-year-old young black woman to a 33-year-old or 30-plus-year-old man that should have known better to say what he said.
Should have known better.
So, with that one, man, if you like the pod, man, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the pod, man. Subscribe to the channel because this is your premier spot to talk sports with the average guys every Thursday live right here, 9:30 on YouTube. And you can catch the podcast every Monday, 5 p.m. on all podcast platforms. My name is Anthony. This is my main man, Kenny. Until next time.
Yeah.